all, and thank you for joining. Today, we're going to be kicking off our series on product-led sales playbooks with this first installment focusing on free-to-paid conversion. So this is a topic that we constantly hear questions from prospects and customers on. They are looking for best practices on PLS playbooks. So we're happy to kind of kick things off with this multi-part series. For those of you I don't know, I'm Steven. I lead up the sales and success teams here at Calixa. I got my first taste of product-led sales back in 2015 at Mixpanel. And based on what I learned and the way that we were selling there, quickly realized that this was going to be the way that all modern SaaS ended up being sold. So excited to be kind of furthering the education in the space. Like I mentioned, we get a lot of questions on this topic, and so I'm hoping that this session will hit home for lots of folks. Before we dig into the content, we are going to kick things off with a poll. And so the first question is going to be, does your team run plays using product data? And then next, do you have free to paid playbooks currently as a part of your sales motion? Cool. So I'm seeing some responses come in. It looks like sometimes is the dominant answer for if the team is currently running plays with product data. We're also seeing that playbooks are actively being created for a lot of the folks on the call. That's not surprising. It aligns with what we've heard from the market. Almost every company is thinking about playbooks in some way, shape, or form, but not a lot of folks have a well-oiled machine in that regard. There's still a lot of work to set those up and get those tweaked and working properly for a given sales org. Cool. So thanks for those responses. That helps kind of calibrate on where the audience is in terms of knowledge in this space. And we'll use that to, kind of tailor the content. So in terms of agenda, we're going to start off with some of the basics, like what are playbooks and why you should be using them in your GTM motions. We're going to dig into the different types of playbooks. So in this series, we're going to be doing free to paid, upsell expansion, and then enterprise account consolidation. Then we'll deep dive into the free to paid conversion playbook. And we'll wrap up with a demo of how you can do this on Calixa and save some time for Q&A at the end. The chat is open, so definitely feel free to ask questions throughout, and I'll do my best to monitor that and get you responses throughout the pre-zo. Cool. All right, let's kick things off. So this whole concept of product-led sales playbooks, is really built around the idea of leveling the sales playing field. So they make sure that your newest and least tenured AEs have access to the tools that are needed really for them to punch above their weight class and run deals using the same tactics that the best, most experienced reps use. Oftentimes, those experienced reps just intuitively know the best action to take, no matter where a deal is in its life cycle. They've gone through the motions dozens or maybe even hundreds of times, and they kind of have that instinct. That's not the case for a new or less tenured rep. So playbooks help standardize those best practices, which at scale can lead to more repeatable success across the team. And so, why does this matter? It can up-level the new reps. The best practices, following best practices across, everyone in the team ensures that your deal conversion rates are going to stay high. You're not going to, have unforced errors and miss out on opportunities that would have closed otherwise. And the different tactics should be employed for different types of product qualified leads or accounts that are kind of at different stages in the activation or adoption lifecycle of your product. And so playbooks can help you kind of formulate that data in a way that's really easy for reps to consume. So who are playbooks for? Well, your sales reps are going to be the end consumers of these playbooks, and sales leadership usually cares about playbooks because it gives them confidence that the entire team is operating and selling and kind of running their deals based on what's kind of agreed upon as the set of best practices. Cool. So one of the most common questions we get when chatting with PLG companies who are building out their playbooks for the first time, and it sounds like based on the poll responses that that's pretty pretty common across the audience. People are kind of setting these up for the first time and looking for best practices. People always ask, what are the plays that we should start with? Easy ones, quick wins. I don't want to, get too into the nitty gritty. Like, let's just start with the low hanging fruit. The three that I always recommend, you have to have a free to paid conversion playbook. That's kind of bread and butter for PLG. You're oftentimes doing this already, but the steps or kind of the way that this is being run is not really standardized across the company. Upsell and expansion is huge, especially with the unofficial 2023 motto of do more with less. One of the best ways to, get revenue is from your existing happy customers. So upsell and expansion is huge there. And then enterprise account consolidation. So this is one where the kind of classic PLG company has end users adopting the tool all across different teams. Usage is growing. Enterprise account consolidation is about identifying the purchaser or the decision maker that's going to get that those multiple smaller purchases over the finish line to an ultimately large enterprise deal. Cool. So let's dig into the free to paid playbook, which is going to be the topic of today's webinar. And so we're going to walk through 3 examples of this playbook and kind of how it's used. Each of these are going to use this signal, messaging, and action framework, whereas the signal is going to be, when the play gets triggered. So, in this case, it's the user has tried premium functionality, right? They're currently on a free tier, but they've shown some intent and that they are experimenting with functionality that's, maybe paywalled or behind feature gates or limited in some capacity. Then the next piece is the messaging. So this is really like how the sales rep should be thinking about this playbook and how they can use context to work with the customer to, kind of move the deal along. In this case, some examples would be like you see that they've used some premium functionality. It's great to, kind of highlight how other successful customers are using that feature. And ultimately, like I think in a lot of PLG companies, it's easy to get tied up in feature selling, but ultimately, as a rep, you want to discover how the feature is tying to the company's business value. And then the third bucket is the action. So like tactically, what are you doing to move this deal along? So we've seen a lot of companies have outreach or sales loft sequences that are pre-built for people that are using premium functionality or people that are hitting these other triggers. So in this case, you might want to go ahead and add that contact to an outreach sequence that already has a lot of this messaging kind of tailored to that use case. Cool. Another one, hitting usage caps, right? I think the majority of PLG companies have some sort of usage cap, whether it's number of seats, whether it's event volume, whether it's a developer tool company like instances running. There's always a usage cap in place for the free tier of the product, and as a rep, you're typically thinking of, okay, how do I, if someone is approaching that usage cap, how do I get ahead of that and start to work with this customer to talk about a plan? So again, like the signal is, it's helping the rep know when it is the right time to reach out and giving them kind of the context they need to start to talk about the value that they're going to get from higher tier plans. So, getting indication that power users are the ones that are close to hitting those usage caps gives you a good idea of not just when it is the right time to reach out, but also who in the account to reach out to. Then, in addition to power users, this is oftentimes a good opportunity to reach out to a decision maker as well. So here, I like to think of this as kind of a chance to review the status of the account, and then the action would be if there are any folks that are using the product that aren't currently tracked in the CRM, like some of these power users that might not be in a decision-making capacity, but you definitely want to make sure they don't slip through the cracks. Create them as leads in Salesforce, and we'll chat through ways that Calixa can help streamline that process quite a bit. Cool. So third example, adding users to approach the limit of the free plan. This is like a classic for traditional SaaS companies that are seat-based. Identifying growth within existing teams. You might have someone joins, they invite one person, and they're on the free plan for months. But then all of a sudden, the rest of the company gets word of this tool. They invite 20 more people. As a rep, that's a huge buying signal. So you want to be notified when that limit is being approached or exceeded. And then typically, like one of the things you can do here is, send a screenshot of what the team's usage looks like. Not just who's using the product, what they're doing when they're last logging in, trying to kind of build the story around what kind of value the company is truly getting from your product. And in this case, you might want to have the rep open an opportunity. And again, kind of that motion, the signal to messaging to action, that a lot of that is what we've built to be streamlined and even automated within Calixa. Cool. So an example of what this would look like, what the playbook itself can look like, is going to be, a rep would be living in an inbox, and you can see the signal at the top is the free user is trying a premium feature. We make it very clear to the rep exactly what is going on here. And then we give them, the 3 steps that they should take. So review this company's current product usage, create that user that tried the premium feature as a lead in Salesforce, and then send a follow-up email via this add to outreach sequence. Cool. So where do we come in? So really to effectively execute on these plays, you need to have product usage data for one. A lot of the PLG free to paid conversion plays are based on how a company is using the product, whether it's adding users, whether it's trying premium features, or any of the other things we've talked about. But you also need to be able to effectively marry that with the data that's either in your CRM or other business apps that can help you understand if a company or a user is a good fit from kind of the classic qualification criteria. How big is that company? Whose patch is it in? What's the title of this user? Calixa really equips sellers with the data they need to effectively run these plays. So we help the SDRs and AEs prospect into their sign up base by giving them alerts for these when these signals are hit. We give AEs context they need to move these deals across the finish line. And so like the playbooks will include easy access to product usage data so that they have confidence and they can have better conversations with the prospects about the value that they're getting from the product, rather than flying blind and trying to convince someone on a hunch or a theory. Great. So all of this is only as powerful as the data that's used to back it up. So we have built out no-code integrations with basically all of the leading tools in the modern data stack. So you'll see all the common warehouses supported: Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift. We'll also work with reverse ETL tools, CRMs, product analytics data, sales cadencing tools. We've got it all. So from a technical perspective, setup is a breeze. And all of this gets kind of pulled into a simple interface for reps to manage these plays, but also learn more about the accounts that they're running. Cool. So we're going to get to a quick demo of this, but first another poll, just to kind of pulse check how people are feeling after some of the content. So this one is going to be, what are the biggest challenges of creating free to paid playbooks? And in this one, you can choose more than one response. All right. It looks like full context and determining the right goals and next steps are both top of mind for folks. Cool. Perfect. So now I'm going to switch over to the demo. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and share my different tab. One second here. Cool. So for this demo, we're going to be focused on plays. I'll show you guys the inbox that reps are living in. I'll talk a little bit about how a rep would use this data, and then I'll end with how these playbooks are configured in the tool. It's all pretty straightforward, but if anyone has any questions or ideas for use cases or types of plays that they would want to run, feel free to throw those in the chat, just so we can tailor the conversation effectively. Cool. So Calixa, I'm getting some feedback that it's a bit small. I'll do my best to zoom in. It's going to, here. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Cool. So reps typically start their day in Calixa in this inbox. And so the inbox is going to be kind of the running list of action items or plays that should be top of mind for any active account in a rep's name. You'll notice things like we are syncing ownership with the CRM, so you don't have to ever worry that something is assigned to the right AE. You'll also notice that accounts can have multiple active plays at once, and this is because There isn't always one linear path to getting a deal done, right? Every deal is unique in some ways. So oftentimes you'd have two different action items or two different sets of tasks for a given account. So here we can kind of dig into the free to paid conversion playbook that we've been talking about. You'll see this account is Barton Bank. I can quickly see the trigger that triggered this play. So this account's been active for more than 5 of the last 7 days. And they've used 3 premium features in that week as well. And Cameron was the one that triggered this play. So you'll see I'm supposed to review their product usage. Cool. Let me go ahead and do that. I can click in, and this is going to instantly show me not just the simple stats like how many days active or how many premium features have been used, but this is going to give me complete context as to what's been happening with this account, what their usage trends look like over time, how many queries they've run, if they've hit paywalls, how many active hosts they have. So that's great at the account level. But I can also start to see kind of what the landscape of user adoption looks like. So I can scroll down here and see that we have some account executives using the product. I can see the CEO is even involved. So there's a lot of great adoption, and all of this is obviously stack ranked by how active folks are in the product. If through going through this playbook process, I wanted to take action on another user, I can easily do that. But I can also go back and see that, for this particular account and this playbook, the next steps are pretty straightforward, right? I'm supposed to create a lead in Salesforce. I can do that here. We handle all of the ugly data entry for you. So all metadata associated with this lead is going to pass to Salesforce. You can modify the name if you want, but you should never have to. And then I'm going to go ahead and send them a follow-up email. So I can add them to a cadence, or I can, pop open my Gmail and write them a one-off email based on what I know about their product usage. Now, this is kind of the way that a rep would be leveraging this data. Once they're done, they'd simply click mark as complete. They would be able to see completed and archived tasks, and Calixa will be able to actually give you stats on kind of how effective these plays are, how many plays reps are completing versus archiving, and which ones ultimately lead to conversion. So the next thing people always ask is around kind of configuring these. So getting started with playbooks can feel pretty daunting, but ultimately we've aimed to make it as easy as possible by giving you a simple interface that essentially looks like designing an email. So first off, you're going to select the triggers or the signals that you want to kick off the playbook. In this example, we essentially used the days active and premium features used to identify when it was the right time to kick off this free to paid conversion playbook. But one of the nice things about Calixa's logic for this is there can be multiple conditions, and or logic supported here. So if an alternate path is, hey, if a decision maker comes in, someone that's a regional director or a CRO, and they've taken over 10 actions in the last week, I also want to kick off that free to paid conversion playbook. Down here, I can choose if I want this via email, Slack, or in the inbox. In this case, I've selected the inbox. And you can see here, this skill will give you essentially the way to edit or modify what that playbook contains. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time configuring it, but would love to chat through different types of playbooks that may be relevant for the folks on the webinar, if you wanted to go into more details there. Perfect. So just to kind of recap the demo as I'm flipping back to the deck here, essentially Calixa's, okay. Essentially it starts with alerting, giving the reps, a clear indication of when is the right time to reach out and who they should be reaching out to. The context that is super valuable when they're putting together that tailored email, or they're taking whatever the next step may be. And then the clearly defined action buttons, like creating a lead or adding that user to a sequence. Perfect. And so that was what we had planned on covering today. I will now open it up for questions for anyone on the call. We have, quite a few exciting PLG companies that are using Calixa and Playbooks to, streamline and scale their go-to-market processes today, and would love to chat with anyone more about that. We have one question. All right, so one question that came in, how have you seen free to paid playbooks being run at other companies? Yeah, so I mean, I think it helps to start super basic with what already works. A lot of the times, the best playbooks are kind of capturing the nuggets that the more tenured reps already inherently know. Like if you have an AE that's consistently hit quota for the past 2 to 3 years, and they're covering this this inbound self-serve to paid segment, try to get a sense of like what they're doing in their deal, and then use that as the V1 of your playbook. So again, it could be things like knowing when it's the right time to reach out, making sure that the messaging that you're using is tailored and is going to resonate with your audience, and not just like selling features, right? Like really making sure that the playbook gets at the business value for the features, or like the way that a customer is using the product, rather than just pointing out things that may be obvious to the end user. Great question. Cool. So another question, when should you think about building out free to paid playbooks into your sales process? I typically think of playbooks as a great tool for helping scale the team. So if you're super small and you're bringing on your first sales rep, I don't think it makes sense to standardize a playbook because you're in that learning and iteration mode, right? You don't want to rest on your laurels and just default to the way that you've been doing things. You want to consistently iterate on the process. Once you get beyond 5 reps and you start to notice trends and what best practices actually lead to conversion, that's when I think it makes sense to layer in playbooks to essentially ensure that everyone is performing with the same information and has the same tools in place to succeed. Solid question. Perfect. Well, if there are no other questions, I think we will call it a day. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. My contact information is on the screen. You can also feel free to request a demo or sign up for the product at Calixa.io. Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye-bye.